Button pushed. Button is pushed. The button has been pushed. The barber is open on Saturday. What's going on, YouTube world? Steve, Michael, Dave, Vincenzo at some point here.
He's adulting.
Yeah.
He's adulting at the moment.
IRP 184. Late placeholder up. It's just been trying to remember what day it is, trying to remember what time it is to try to look at the time. That always helps. That golden orb, the golden orb in the sky still. I'm like, man, it's gonna be like, man, 6:30, 7 o'clock. I got time. Whoops. Maybe not.
Such a novel idea, Dave, to actually pay attention to the time. Like, so difficult. Like, it walks around with you everywhere you go.
I mean, it wasn't even, that was the thing. Naomi and I were watching the React videos, and they had one about like Eminem. So then I started showing her a couple different Eminem songs that aren't your normal Eminem top of the chart casual fan enjoying songs like the Mosh. I'm like, they brought that up, so I'm like, hey, here's what was going on back in like 03, 04 with the president and how excitable everybody was with Mr. Bush and his delightful ways. So I was like, wow. But then the video is goofy because it was sort of the Gorillaz animation with all the people like with the hoodies and the shit and marching towards like the Capitol building, and I'm like, is that a precursor of things that happened? We're not political here, but I'm just saying. But that's on the other side, and that's but again, just saying, showing her that and said if you listen to the lyrics, you rip through this a couple more times, and it's interesting. You don't have a lot of that going on today, or people are too afraid to like say anything because of their brand and this and that. Like, just you're gonna upset somebody at some point in time, so you might as well upset a lot of people at one time to get some sort of press through upsetting somebody. I mean, that's the old any publicity is good publicity sort of, which necessarily isn't true, but at this point in time, if you want to drum up some whatever hashtags and thumbs up or whatever the fuck goes on in the internet world now, yeah, that's a good way to do it. And if that was going on, if all this social media bullshit was then, Eminem probably would have been trending for a good while.
I'm pretty sure we trashed our what little brand we had a long time ago.
This is crazy.
I forgot. We don't have a brand.
Yeah. What's up, Jeff? So yeah, trying to keep track of the time when you're just like watching videos, and again, where there's a rare moment of not having to really think, and you can just sit and fucking do nothing, which it's drive here, drive there, make this by this time, make sure I get a shower in. Okay, now it's like midnight. No, try to fall asleep. Okay, I'm up at 3:30 because the truck's actually going to be here on time. So now it's just like, there just isn't any. I think it worked, 8.5 Monday. And then I came back for 2 more at night because I had to get stuff done for Tuesday. So I was going to ditch out early and go down to near Duluth and watch the softball, at least game, possibly more, depending on if they won that first one. And they did, so that was more games, and just then to go back then to another pallet of freight was waiting for me, so at least I got that done in about an hour. But yeah, it's just like work, softball, work, softball, sneak time to see Krista, come back, and then it's like either work or softball, and it's like, and again, I'm not complaining, it's just a hectic schedule because nothing is ever close. It's not like, hey, 20 minutes away, there it is. 15 minutes, a half hour. It's fucking everything's an hour, 2 hours. Cities, 4 hours, which that's the only curmudgeon thing, Baz, that I'm gonna be about this is like the distance. That's the thing where it's drive. But
hey, Michael. Just asking here. Does it not sound to you like he's?
You're on mute.
I mean, yes.
You didn't mute me fast enough, so like he still heard what I had to say. So like,
I get it though.
we all do. And as Dave knows, I'm giving him shit. Like it's this time of year for Dave is hectic, more so than what it normally is. So I mean, we all get it. We all understand. The show always gives it an opportunity to at least have an outlet to a degree. So he's not, strangling people or, given a DDT or, an RKO and everything else.
Yeah, my buddy Mike right now, Wednesday is the only night he doesn't have something going on. There's something going on every day, including Saturday and Sunday. Wednesday's the only day where he doesn't have to be somewhere having to do something with his boy playing sports. Because it's baseball, football, and wrestling. Yeah. And the crazy thing to me is he's 7 years old, I think. 7 or 8 years old. He's playing flag football. The practices are here in town, but the games are in Columbia, which is over an hour away.
That's always fun.
I'm like, they're 7 years old. This is nonsense. It's so goofy. Same with, I mean, if it's raining and they don't have a gym reserved for baseball practice, he's going somewhere to do wrestling practice instead.
Jeez.
And yeah, so Wednesdays is the one night where he doesn't have to do anything. And fortunately, that is the night of the men's golf league. So he finally got his wife talked into letting him go do that. I mean, from where I'm sitting, I would have just told her I'm going to do this.
Right.
I'm not asking permission. The other 6 days of the week, I have to do something. I'm going to do something for me on Wednesday night for a few hours.
I mean, when I played soccer, where the soccer complex was for the league that I was in was still close to a 30-minute drive from where we lived. Practice was, like 10 minutes up the road.
Right.
But games were roughly half an hour. And so it wasn't horrible. But when we played tournaments, it was Garland, Mesquite, Duncanville, which, were well over an hour. And we didn't have the George Bush Freeway here. Not that anybody knows what the George Bush Freeway is, other than people who live in Texas. It's another tollway that really cuts down some of the drive time to get to Mesquite, Garland, Duncanville, those type of areas. So it was, you had 35 to 635 to then drive freaking X amount of miles to get to Mesquite, Garland. And then, of course, we had a tournament in Tyler, and then we had one in San Antonio for the first team that I played with. Not that that was the norm. But I know the feeling of being that age and practice twice a week. During the summer was the tournaments, and we were playing every other weekend, it seemed, in some fucking tournament. And you're talking well over an hour drive.
Yeah.
It's a kicking ass.
That's why I quit bowling tournaments. And now I'm not even bowling league because it just got burnt out. But back in the day, I bowled league 3 nights a week, and we were somewhere bowling a tournament every weekend. And I mean, they were all over Missouri. I mean, every tournament that we went to was a minimum hour and a half away.
Yeah, it's fun when you enjoy it, but after a while, it's like, okay, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. When we stopped winning money, it stopped being fun.
Go figure.
Yeah. Funny how that happens.
Yeah, there's no more incentive.
No, because it's just, if I'm going to go away for a weekend and spend $500, I'd rather not have to be in a bowling alley at some point.
Well, and of course, when I played soccer and shit, there was no participation shit either. You only got trophies first, second, and third. And sometimes there wasn't even a third place trophy. So, like, what's the incentive?
Yeah.
Not to mention, we're playing an age group up. On average, every tournament we went and played. It's like, okay, I get it. You're trying to make us better and everything else, but what's the incentive? Oh, we won. Yay. Here's the trophy. This is great. But like I said, growing up, I enjoyed it for quite a long time. But it got to the point, and it wasn't the amount of playing, so to speak, because like I also played indoor. For both teams that I played for, it was outdoor and then indoor. So it was all year. The second team, we didn't do tournaments. It was outdoor, and then we moved to indoor. So I didn't get burnt out for the playing aspect. It was the fucking piece of shit coach. If my first coach would have kept coaching for the later years, I may have continued to play all the way up until I went to high school. And then it was like, I can't play city league ball anymore. But so, yeah, to have to go an hour just to play all the time, that's tough at that age because I remember it. I remember it. And then, of course, you've got Dave because of where he lives. He travels freaking that all the time almost, it seems.
Yeah, there's no. The closest town is Virginia, the Rock Ridge, and they're a class above Ely. So we're in Class A, they're in Class AA. So we can play them like in like the junior high type stuff, which, yeah, great. It's another team to play, but Aurora, which is Mesabi East, that's the only other, and then Cook, which is Northwoods. Those are like the 3 that are an hour away. And then Mountain Iron's a little bit further, Chisholm's a little further. Hibbing, Kevin McHale, Ville, that's about an hour and a half-ish. Duluth, 2 hours. That Floodwood is about 2 hours. South Ridge, which we just beat, they're about 2 hours. Two Harbors is about 2 hours. That's on the North Shore, north of Duluth. And then Cook County, Grand Marais, that's about 2 hours too. And it's not like a straight shot. I mean, these fucking roads you're ripping. Yeah, it's your curves and like hairpin corners and like it's almost like a roller coaster type on that Highway 1 when you get to Ely over to like Lake Superior. It's not just an hour, boom, you're there. It's if you get car sick, you are not going to enjoy that road. And I remember when I coached football, yeah, we'd have to stop at a specific spot so kids can get off and puke because it was that bad. I mean, it wasn't like the bus drivers going 70 and hammering the brakes and then fucking throttling down. It was like you're going like, and it's like, so.
Yeah. And I deny any reports of anybody getting car sick while driving in Chicago. Didn't happen. They're all lies. All lies.
Well, again, the only reason anybody would have the stupid fucking divot where nobody saw it at all, and it was like the Dukes of Hazzard when we went over it.
That's still fucking that. The fact that that story is one of the few ones that continues to come up when we talk about national. Fucking going airborne in a fucking Kia Telluride with what, 8 people in the vehicle? 7? Not that
Yeah.
it's important, but it's like
Yeah,
that
it probably-
motherfucker went airborne.
yeah, I was. If you watch Dumb and Dumber and it's in the opening, I think 10 minutes, they gotta get the dogs to the dog show. It was sort of that feeling. Yeah. Holy fuck. I'm like, what the hell did you hit? Nothing. Are you sure about that?
It was Waze's fault. That's
Oh,
my story. And I'm
fucking
sticking to it.
system. We had to ditch that. That's a fucking joke.
And did anybody notice? Well, only you would have noticed. At least like Joe's not here, so like he couldn't chime in here. But Vinny's adulting. But I felt like it took us a different way almost every time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was like, because that's one of the things I try to when I'm driving or if I'm a passenger, I want to pick up landmarks, even if it's like a time change. Like I say, like the one night we were like 10:30 or whatever, we're going back. The other night it was a little earlier. It's like, okay, I know. I mean, if I get here and I know we got to get in this exit, and we had to scurry across like 2 or 3 lanes to make sure we got to that exit because we just came off something. Like, okay, I know that, and I was like, who the fuck are we? I'm like, I feel like we're not even close to, and then you start getting that back country, and I'm like, okay, now I pick up more of that stuff on that 2 lane. I'm like, okay.
That was more consistent, at least.
Yeah.
Than
But
the highways.
Just fucking literally throwing darts.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't get accustomed to anything because I'm sitting here going, okay, wait a minute. Like, where the fuck are we going? Like, this does not look familiar.
Oh, and speaking of being consistent, being a slight segue, and I'll shoehorn in from here till the end of July. Consistency. Probably the 805 will start then, just because it's a lot easier for us to, again, ease into that time, because we've been usually starting, like Steven mentioned pre-show, like between that 7:45, 8 o'clock time. Just been pushing back. That 7:35 is usually it's a preempted. The game goes into extra innings, overtime, weather delay, whatever the case may be. But show Wednesday nights, 8:05 Central Standard Time, 9:05 Eastern Time, through probably again like the end of July or close to it. So softball starts, I think, games next week, maybe. I'd have to look at the schedule. I don't even know. But
yeah, you may want to do that before you realize, oh shit, I didn't plan for this.
So yeah, I know it's Tuesdays will be busy. Mondays are, again, I don't like it at all because again, everything is scheduled around another sport. Mondays you have the practice. That's like the one quote unquote practice of the week. Tuesdays are the game. Wednesdays, well, nobody can practice because there's volleyball. I'm like, this is why your softball team sucks. Or your people aren't like grasping stuff that they should be grasping because they don't have enough time to do fundamentals. Thursday, there's an optional 1 hour practice.
Optional.
And I said, well, that's not even going to be something that's we'll ever be at. I said that right away. I'm like, I'm not going to be there. Naomi's not going to be there. We're going to be in the cities for an hour of actual intense practice and like a lesson from somebody that knows what's going on. And they were going to say something like, no, she's not going to learn anything there. I can go down there and continue the same thing we've been doing. And obviously people have seen it, and anybody that's seen it say, yes, there's a dramatic change. And so, and then Friday, no, well, people have plans for the weekend. I'm like, again, it's amazing how the volleyball, you can have a tournament on the weekend, nobody bats an eye, but if softball wants something, well, I don't know if there's time for softball. I'm like, no, I don't know if there's time for you. So it's like insane.
Yeah. If it's not one thing, it's something else. But
Oh my God.
the joys of living in a smaller market, and I hate using the term market, but when you think about it, school districts are markets
Yeah.
depending on where you live. So it is what it is in those situations, unfortunately. But you put forth the effort. I just hope that Naomi still continues down the path that she's choosing to go down, and she continues to work at it, and things happen for her. So
But Baz, I get that, but in the same sense, Ely's graduating class this year. Throw a number out there. Throw a number.
45.
I'm going to say you're wrong.
Well, could you give me a higher or a lower? Wow. 27. 32.
33. So it's not like our three best last year off the state tournament team that graduated. One went to Iowa, one went to Wisconsin, another went to the community college down in Virginia. She played there, but again, it's a community college, and it's not like something down in a Texas or Florida, somewhere where you're like, okay, this is like a feeder program basically for the NCAA, the 4-year schools. You just sort of like honing some sort of skills or whatever the hell it may be. The one that went to Wisconsin played intramural. The one at Iowa didn't play. They weren't going to go to Big Ten. They were not, or are not Big Ten athletes. Again, quality people, quality skills, and they didn't continue. And again, they're all tournament team down there in the state and stuff of that nature. It's not like just some Johnny come latelys and, oh, I got out there for a few sets and there I am. It's like, no, you're the hitting's based around you and all that stuff. So the 3 seniors this year, one's going to Bethel, which is like a Division 2, Division 3 type school with like St. Thomas was in there. They got booted out of that conference because they're killing everyone. So it's like a D2 or D3, I think. And she's playing there. But again, D3. It's still higher level, but it's not like you're sitting there amongst like the cream of the crop. Plus, it's a private type university are more faith based. So I mean, you're narrow casting your clientele. And the other, the the old football coach's daughter, she's going down to like Iowa. I want to say Iowa Western, but I'm not sure. But it's again a community college. But she's going to try to play basketball now. So I mean, it's not like we're sending out. You mentioned wave of like players and the astronomical numbers of hours and of practice of games. There's not a wave of talent like that going out. It's like one of those tsunami warnings, and you just sort of have like a little ripple. It's like, okay, we have a nice little pocket of like 5 or 6 girls that are going to go in the past 2 years and at least play next level. But it's not like D1's got a bus coming up from Minneapolis scouting everyone. So that's my, and I don't knock these girls for, even if they've got those aspirations, I don't mind that. I'm not going to knock them for that, but to have so much attention paid to one program and nothing paid to another, just because I've said before, it's the flavor of the month. It's like you got some progress, you got some success, you've got positivity, all the stuff, you got momentum. It's like, well, softball just completed its best season, not maybe record-wise, but the deepest playoff run that they've ever had. And again, that's not saying a ton, but so I've told Naomi, I said, well, do you want that to be the benchmark, or do you want to do better? She said, well, that wasn't fun. I mean, you see people's errors out there that shouldn't have errors, and the sense of urgency isn't there. Just when you're in a playoff game, that you don't want the ball to get past you. You want to have every conceivable effort to stop the ball. And there were several times where I don't know. It just
it sucks for her because she puts 110%. She wants to win. She wants to play well. And this is going to sound really bad, but when you feel like your team lets you down all the time, it sucks.
Oh yeah.
It makes it difficult mentally to continue to want to play. I mean, Vinny's not here, but look at some of the situations that C had to deal with. And, you know, the past team she played on and the coaching and everything else. It's just, it almost breaks your heart because they carry it on their shoulders and nobody gives a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take the wind out of the sails of somebody who wants to truly play and do well, it sucks. Thumbs up, thumbs down, yay, nay. At this time, we would like it to welcome back to the show a good friend of everybody's, Bob
Hello.
Lewis.
Back in effect. Yes. How's everybody doing?
Doing fantastic. You're looking good, Bob.
About 15 pounds heavier, actually.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, in my case, it's good.
Not necessarily a bad thing. If
I
you're already,
could have given you 15 plus another 50 if you wanted.
I mean, you know, if you're pushing, 450 pounds and you add 15, then that's usually
Yeah. That's like that old Seinfeld joke, like when the world's largest man are like 1,400 pounds. Like the guy could lose 400 pounds and he like, what are you down to now? 1,000 pounds? Like, there's no real way to compliment that. But anyways, yeah, good to be here. Just got off the phone with the little one, so all good.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
What are we talking about?
Kid sports at the moment.
I know it's a shock. I know.
Before we go on to actually talk about the topic, which really isn't much of a topic other than extremely shitty weather, dangerous weather,
Yeah.
and then the playoffs. But of course, Dave only brought up in the freaking placeholder. Not to mention you went old school Mavs logo. I mean, come on, Dave.
That's what I looked for. I didn't want the new one. Hold on. I want to have like Roy Tarpley. Was it Rolando Blackman, Ron Harper, some of those guys? I'm like,
that was Derek Harper.
Derek Harper.
Close.
Same.
Close.
One of the same.
It's close. I'm sure you are, Mike. You have a.
They played like those guys last night.
No,
I thought
they played worse than that, Michael. Like they
it was hard.
Hit a,
it was hard to watch.
They couldn't hit fucking water falling out of a boat. I mean, it was.
I really thought they were going to pull it out with 0.2 seconds left, though. I just really thought they were going to do it, but no.
That was. I mean, they had some decent runs, but it's like. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. And I mean, okay, so Lively was out. Not that he was a major point producer. He came up clutch in a lot of games with some block shots and some rebounds and stuff. And, very vocal, very energetic. So I think that kind of dampened their mood a little bit. Like, but even then, I don't know. And I don't like the fact that freaking whoever it was, I think it was Gobert, freaking starting to go up for freaking dunks with his damn knee out to purposely like hit these guys in the fucking nuts. Lively got freaking drilled, man. Like it was.
Dude, the back of the head one was. The back of the head one was scary. Yeah, I mean.
And that's why he was out. That's why he was out this past game. But that first one, freaking man, when that happened, I sat there and I'm like, I'm going, okay. Like, not saying that it was done on purpose. I know sometimes in situations there are coaches out there that are willing to tell their players, hey, do whatever it takes to try and get a player out. We know what happens. I want to think that it doesn't. But that would almost look like it was on purpose because, I mean, that was clean to the testicles. Clean to the nuts. And you even had the announcer sitting there going, oh, yeah, that was bad. But yeah,
Boston looks pretty tough. Though. Boston looks tough.
Yeah, I don't
know how I don't follow NBA enough, but I have watched all these games because I had nothing else going on. Even the hockey's matchups have been phenomenal.
Yep.
So it's been a nice series.
I don't think Dallas stands a chance against Boston. I don't think they stand a chance. Of course, I said the same thing against Oklahoma, and they pulled that one out. But like watching the highlights and stuff from the Boston Pacers series, I'm like, Boston looking tough, man.
How do they determine who gets home court advantage in that?
Well, it'll be Boston because they're the higher seed.
And if both ones made it, it would be based on record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the same in hockey? Like,
yes. So, because it's what? So it's tied 2-2 with Florida, New York. Game 4 is tonight for Dallas and Edmonton, and it's 2-2 going into the second.
Yep.
So if Dallas wins that series, then it'll be a 1-1, and since New York won the President's Trophy, they'll have home ice. So I've watched a little bit of the Mavs, but I've watched more Stars than I have the Mavs. So,
Dude, it's like Texas's year, man. They won the World Series. Could be the Mavs, could be the Stars.
Yeah.
We'll see.
like I said, I don't think if Dallas, and I say if because anything's possible in any playoff.
Yeah.
If Dallas moves on, I just don't think they stand a chance against Boston. I really don't. I don't see how. I'd love to see it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see it. And if they play like they did last night against Boston, they're going to get fucking crushed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even going to be anywhere close.
You know what? Boston best 3-point shooting team. I think I heard that during one of the broadcasts during the year. Could just make it look easy.
But then again, I mean, Dallas has looked really good this postseason, other than last night. I don't know. Anything's possible, as we all know. Anything's possible. Just like you can't script October in baseball, you can't script, May and June when it comes to the NBA and the NHL. You can't.
I mean, there's part of me that's like, greats of the game. I know they all don't win championships. Ask Dan Marino, but I kind of would like to see McDavid get one just to like get that monkey off his back. Kind of like to see Luka get one and get that monkey off his back type of thing. So I think that's where my rooting interest will be, but we'll see. I again, never having not watched basketball hardly ever, I didn't realize how like Luka is always whining to the refs, like about a lot more than I feel like is warranted sometimes. Just throwing his hands up all the time. But I guess Jordan got a lot of calls too. Not saying Luka's Jordan. Not don't get me wrong.
I always go
declares Luka Doncic the next Michael Jordan.
I go back to like Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade used to do the same thing, complaining about fucking everything. Oh yeah,
yeah.
The series when Dallas played Miami the first time, all Dwayne Wade did was bitch, moan, groan, and complain, and was getting everything. And it's like he wasn't even touched. Of course, then Dallas got their revenge, so that's okay. But that's beside the point. But it's also one of those, depending on who you watch and how frequently you watch, you kind of figure out who gripes and complains. Like Luka's a phenomenal player, but he's a little bit of a whiny baby. He's a little bit of a whiny baby, but there's probably a few of them. And I pointed out Dwayne Wade being one of them back in that time frame.
Was that game 2? He hit that 3 at the end of the game.
Yes.
So like you get the good with the bad, I guess. Of course, he couldn't hit one at the end of the game last night, and then he did, and then he missed the foul shot. Would you have
of all the
is there a play to like just bounce it like the whole like miss it on purpose? Is that a should that have been a play there? I don't, again, not being a basketball person at all.
No, because if he would have made it, it would have put him within 2. So then you foul and you hope that they
go 1 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's It's the chess match in those situations.
For sure.
But you miss the free throw, and then you foul. You're now down by 5 if they make
Right.
2. So and there is no 5-point play. The most you can have, well, there is. You make the 3, you get fouled, and then you have multiple technicals and everything else. But
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's the chances of that occurring are almost slim to none.
Yeah, that would. I wouldn't want to be the ref to call that.
No.
Make that.
No.
But I think what is it like? If the home team loses the first 2 games and then goes down 3-0, I think it's like no team has ever come back from that.
Yeah, there's any team that's been up 3-0 in the NBA
Yeah.
has never won a series
Right.
ever. And I think the percentage, it was under 10% to force a game 7 of the number of games or whatever.
Yeah.
Crazy. But anything's possible. Like, I mean, Boston in the World Series the one year. Or,
Yeah, man.
The AL, what was the ALCS?
ALCS, yeah.
Down 3-0 and they came back and beat the Yankees. I mean, anything is possible in professional sports. So statistics and stats and shit like that don't mean squat, because history can be broken and can be rewritten. So if Minnesota plays the same way they did last night, it's a completely different series, because they were on. They played their game. And Dallas just couldn't freaking make a shot.
Couldn't buy a basket.
No, they couldn't. They could not. Missing wide open threes, and it was bad. It was bad. And I didn't watch a lot of it, but I did turn it on and flip back and forth to kind of pay attention to what was going on and stuff along those lines. And then, of course, I watched like the last 5 minutes, and I'm saying, "Oh, this is going to get interesting. Is Dallas going to figure out a way to pull this out?" And there were moments of like, "Oh shit, go Dallas!" And then all of a sudden, you're like, "What just happened?" It's like you flip a switch. Oh no, Vegas is playing a role in this one.
And that was the first time Kyrie had lost a game. That was an elimination game where if they win, they close out the series. He was 14-0 in his career before last night.
Oh, wow. Well, Minnesota was 3-0 with this postseason and facing elimination. So,
yeah, him and Luka could not make a basket last night. They just missed everything.
Yeah, it was bad. Horrible. There is no other way to put it. They were horrible. And unfortunately, when your 2 best guys are playing like shit, and you got other guys that aren't stepping up and making up for that, how are you going to win? You're not. Timber!
Shit.
See?
And water bottle.
I'll answer Joe's question to get it off the screen. Mountain Iron Buell has one of their seniors, and again, that's another program where you're dedicated. Their girls basketball and the football team there's no sloughing around, and there's like an app called Team Reach. So on that, again, you have like your parents and then or guardians or whoever the case may be, and then the players. And I think the coach back and again, my insurance agent graduated, I think 3 years before me. Was friends with him in high school because my best friend, his older brother was his best friend. So sort of cross pollinated the groups, and then they'd go on their way, and we'd go on our separate ways. But it he had said that when their coach puts something out, it's like you parents will be making sacrifices if you want the continuation of the success of the team. The kids are making their sacrifices, so if we need you to bring them to this place, like 4 hours away for like a 7-on-7 no contact like tournament over a 2 or 3 day weekend, you will be doing that. You will be doing this. You'll be doing that. So I mean, it's not just show up for practice and then pretty much you're on your own accord the rest of the time. There's a series of things. It's like you will be in the weight room at least 4 times a week. You will sign in, and it will be monitored by somebody. I know it can't be a coach during the off season, but it's going to be somebody else that'll be in there that will know if you're there or not. Not that it wouldn't show in the working out or the like when you get on the field or whatever. So the basketball, they're there at like 6 in the morning before school, shooting around. We might have one or two people do that. So it's like you see what happens. It's repetition. It's practice. It's not fucking rocket science. It's the thing that's been told to us since we were kids. Our parents were told the same thing if they tried to do anything back in their day. It's the same thing. It's you practice, you work on getting better at your craft, whatever that may be, or your sport, your skill set, whatever it is that you're trying to get better at. You don't just sit there and say, well, you know what? Get on the pottery wheel. Trista's been doing a lot of that lately. She's not like, I'll do this, and then like maybe a couple months later I'll pick it up. It's like, no, she wants to get on there to keep trying and working things out. It's the same with the kids. It's the same. It has to be the same. So the one girl from Mountain Iron's going down to play at North Carolina basketball. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out, because I know she has to put on probably at least 15 pounds of muscle. Because I mean, she's not super slender, but I mean, if you're going to be beating and banging with the ACC, it's not going to be Division III. It's not going to be community college. It's not going to be, even up here, they played a tougher schedule. Being a Class A team, they play like AA teams. They play a couple AAA. Some of those big teams down in like the cities. So again, yeah, you're playing some bigger competition, but at the same time, now you're going to be playing bigger girls, weight wise, size wise, wow, wingspan wise. So it'll be interesting to see when you're the big fish in a small pond, now going to being a small fish in a big pond. See how that all works out, because again, that's gonna be two different things. That's gonna be, can you mentally accept that? And if you can you mentally navigate maybe being like a role player the first year or so, and then like again moving into more of a, not a superstar, but like a main player role, like a top 3, a top 4, so like a big producer role. So it'll be interesting to see where she goes. I still think she'll transfer back home somewhere, maybe a UMD or maybe Southern Minnesota, but I don't know. I don't see it happening, but I've been wrong before, and we'll see. But yeah, there's not a lot of like D1 athletes. I mean, you'll have again D1 hockey, but that's a whole different cupboard. That's not like football, baseball, basketball. There's 300 plus teams or 150 for football. So we'll see. But yeah, I wanted to answer that for Joe, since that's been up for 15
What's
minutes.
up, Joe?
It's Duke.
Last guy looked like you got some pretty good luck with getting some autographs. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be
I mean, talking to Dr. Beckett in and of itself is worth at least $5.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on who you ask.
I still think that's worth it. I mean, again, I'm not, if we're not asking for information or hey, what are the hot takes? If I
Who's
can
on the
just-
hot list?
Yeah, I don't want to see the cold list with Jose Canseco, Daryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, and Kevin Moss. I'm like, I already know that. I don't need to
Yeah.
be told again.
I always like when Bo Jackson was on the hot list and the cold list. I'm like, how does that work?
The whole Eric doesn't count. We all know that by now. So
This is true.
Eric counts. Eric counts. We all
Well,
count. I mean, there's levels, but you know.
Eric counts as chocolate sticks. That's about it. There you go, Robert.
What's the true vibe in the burger around Polsky? Well, I have been somewhat out of touch with Pirate baseball since he's been brought up. But from what I hear is nothing but excitement, to be honest. The dude's a beast. I think he won today. We had a doubleheader today. I think he won today. I think
He won game
throwing
2.
one game too, right? Throwing some heat. So let me get a couple more starts in there. We'll revisit this around late June. But fans have been clamoring for him to come up for a while. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of like postponing that for contract purposes and stuff, but I think there was a little of that going on. It's nice to see him up, that's for sure. I think a difference maker moving, for the future of the Pirates until we trade him to the Yankees or something, for like prospects to be named later. No, I really hope those days are gone for the Pirates. But yeah, just kind of getting plugged back in. Keep Brian Hayes, I guess, is just coming back from like a 6-week injury. I guess O'Neal Cruz hit one in the river, but isn't like consistent enough. We don't have the bats right now to really make a play. So pitching, we might be relying on pitching more than ever. Even though we scored 10 runs, I think we won 10-2. But anyways, I'll keep you posted, Joe. Don't go all in on his rookie cards just yet, if he even has one yet.
And he's banging Livy Dunn, so.
Well, there is that.
And she's not bad to look at, so.
That's what I hear. Dude, it's so funny because like I know who she is, but I don't like. I always thought it was the actress Olivia Munn. Is there like an actress or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would she date Rogers for a bit?
I'm not sure who she's dating.
She's with John Mulaney, the comedian.
Oh wow.
She has a kid with him.
Well,
yeah.
if you've ever watched some of the Fabletics commercials, then you've seen Livy Dunn.
Yeah.
Olivia.
Olivia.
But she goes by, like, everybody calls her now Livy.
Yeah, so we should be able to call her Livy. Like we're buddies.
It's not as big of the fanfare of, of course, Kelsey and freaking Taylor, but
I didn't see Taylor at the game on courtside the other night, though. Just Mahomes and whoever that other chick is that wants to be really famous.
Well, Patrick was there with his wife.
Is that his wife now? I didn't know they got married.
He was there with his wife.
Well, God bless him.
Yeah, it makes you wonder because, like at a football game, you can be in a private box and be away from the bulk of the majority of people. Sitting at courtside, at a basketball game, you're gonna get bothered.
I couldn't tell, but like I forget whatever game it was they were there, and maybe it's been more than one. But when they showed them on camera and then cut away from them, you could still see them in the background. It looked like an usher or something was like getting autographs or like handing them something to. You couldn't really tell, but yeah, that would be annoying to kind of just be that exposed. I mean, it's like that when I go to card shows, sometimes. So I know how they feel.
Yeah, the autograph hounds. Yeah, people like running everybody over to get to you.
Yeah.
But of
You're a
course,
Hall
they
of
can
Famer,
see.
aren't you? Yeah.
They can see you all the way from the other side of the
Yep.
fucking facility.
The
Though,
height.
so
I am tall. Yes.
so don't underestimate the height of Bob.
Yeah, right.
Of course, truth be
So,
told, since everybody said that, I was expecting you to be like 6'5", 6'6",
right.
and I'm like,
Just-
okay, yeah, so yeah, he's tall, but not as tall as what it was made to seem. Maybe the
Right.
people who said that they're just short.
I think you nailed it there.
Yeah.
I did hear about a recent major injury of Ronald Acuna Jr. That kind of sucks
Yes.
for PC collectors.
Another ACL tear.
Yeah, man. And like my dad and I were talking today, like, because he hadn't heard that yet, and I kind of like, oh no, like somebody with so much talent that just that project what their career is going to end up being like, or what people will remember or say, and it's like, because he wasn't really he was hurt for the World Series run, right? I mean, he didn't play in that World Series, so he's got a ring, but he's it's kind of like Fleury's ring. It wasn't really a part of it. But like, is he just going to be that guy that's like, man, he could have been like one of the greatest whatevers, and then, but if it wasn't for all those injuries, it sucks, man. It sucks. I know he's still young. What is he, 25? 26, maybe?
I don't even think he's 25.
He started, oh yeah, these guys start when they're 20, so 18.
Let's do a Google search here. Oh, nope, he's 26. So look at you go,
20.
Bob.
Yeah.
He'll be 27 and he'll be 27 in December.
Okay. So after the season. Yeah, I mean, so next year he'll be 27. Still a lot of time to make things happen, but
Yeah, but 2 ACL tears.
how's Soto been doing with the Yankees? I haven't been really following that much.
Truth be told, I don't care.
Yeah.
He's been doing well. Been doing very well. He's starting to find like the old Nationals touch. I think he's got probably 12, 14 home runs somewhere in there.
Has Dominguez been called up at all? Is he hurt? I knew he was hurt.
Yeah, he got something. I think he's working his way back. I don't know when he'll be back, but I think that was like another. Did he have Tommy John too last year?
I can't remember. It was at the end of the season. He was playing well, and then I don't know. Those dudes are just so muscle bound. I thought it was more like some kind of a tear or something, but maybe somebody in the comments knows or can Google it.
I think that was like another one where he'll be back, but I don't know in what capacity. Because again, like you said, that was like a late
Tommy John. It was Tommy John. September 20th of last year, he had Tommy John surgery, and then he's now suffering through an elbow injury. Is what it says.
Imagining that might be that's where the old Tommy John.
Well,
yeah,
and Bob, like, since you're catching up on some things. I shared this on Instagram.
All right.
I went Wemby hunting.
Okay. Nice, man.
One value pack.
Really?
Yep.
Dude. Congrats, man. What's
Can't
the base rookie? The base rookie, I think last time I was asking, it was like around $50 or something. Or last time I think I heard somebody mention it.
It's between like 50 and 70, depending on who you ask
Yeah.
or
That's
who has
cool,
it
man.
up for sale.
Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna. I'll be getting back into the swing of things here with the hobby. Obviously a little out of touch lately, but yeah, I think it'll be good for me for sure. So yeah, buying packs though might not be my. It has been the route in the past, but I think now it'll just be more player collecting. Just buying the
Right.
card that I want. A pack here and there, of course.
Well, something to like. I haven't hid this from anybody, but you know, I've bought retail to sit on over the last few years, and you know, it's one of those in which everybody loves Prism, so I felt like taking a chance. It was $15. I got my one Wemby. Of course, it's not the base rookie, which, you know, is what I would prefer. But at the same time, what else I purchased, I'm just going to sit on it now because
Yeah, man.
unanimous, you know, freaking rookie of the year. The kid is fucking fantastic. He's the real deal. He has no autographs in any Panini products because he's a Fanatics exclusive. So
I didn't know that.
like that's the only way. I mean, if you want rookie cards, that's what you're going to get. Or rookie cards. That's just the way that it is. So, I mean, I bought 8 packs, but I only opened one. And pulling the Wemby, it's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, right.
I'll sit the other ones back, and eventually, if he continues down the path that he's going, there's going to be some value there. So,
Yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. That is why I bought packs. It's the gambling of it all. But
and I enjoy that rush. I still enjoy that rush,
yeah,
but you know, it's as Baz says, you know, buy singles, and you know, Baz buys collections, so he's on a whole different level. And he finds, you know, diamonds in the rough and gems, hidden gems in a lot of the stuff that he buys.
oh, I bet.
Honestly, I wish he would share more of some of the stuff that he finds in some of those. But I understand why he doesn't. And for a lot of years, I spent a shit ton of money because of the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah,
You know, you spend X amount of money, you hope to pull the big rookie, the big parallel, you know, whatever. And unlike you, Bob, who has had historically great luck with you and the dude over the years, me not so much. So sitting there in after hours opening that, so Dave, Michael, and Vinny actually got to see the card right after I pulled it.
nice.
To pull for something like that to happen was kind of cool. I got to share it with, you know, some of my really good friends, but at the same time, it's like, why can't my luck be like that all the fucking time? Like,
Well, right. Like, what is it? Like, there's so every year it comes out like the what are like the tops cards that are like one card that's autographed per pack? You know, like there's
Archives.
the archives, the
Archives.
signature archives, right? Like you could get like the veterans. You know, you can get something insane, or you can get Tony Womack. You know, so it's like I don't know. Those never have been like really in my collecting journey at all. Like buying stuff like that once in a while, but
Or even Dynasty being the higher value, the higher
yeah,
price product, but it's
that dude was it KG Sports Cards. He loves Dynasty, and the dude just buys cases of it, year after year, or triple threads. You know, like you get a couple base, couple parallels, and then hopefully something awesome. If not, then it's just like, oh, I don't know, man. I nowadays I'm so much more mature now. Like I feel like money is better spent elsewhere. Yeah,
it's
it's just not.
it's not a maturity thing, Bob. It's a recalculation of how you prefer to spend your money.
Yeah,
You did packs and boxes and stuff for the thrill of the hunt. You did it for the enjoyment. You knew what the risks were, just like I did,
yeah.
but you did it for fun, and that's the way it's supposed to be. More so
And if we're
now,
being completely transparent, the dude foot the bill for a lot of it. So, like, let's call a spade a
understood,
spade. Right. So,
understood, but
and
still,
I get it. Like those moments shared with him, opening packs, regardless of who bought it, like memories that I'll have forever. So
one
that
hundred
takes
percent.
it. Right. We've opened plenty of boxes and been like, that was like a C, right? Like, maybe if we're being generous to ourselves, that's like a C. He always wants me to grade the box, you know. And I've definitely skewed it. To, oh no, this guy, he might not know rookies, but then you get like, I don't know. That's what's fun. I mean, I don't think I'll be opening any. If I open stuff, it'll be like baseball, Bowman stuff, or like update the things where like there's names in there that just maybe not have matured yet, and it's always fun to kind of go back through and pull out, you know, something that you landed that you didn't know at the time. And like,
Right.
oh, I got, not only do I have like three of his base cards, I got a gold parallel as well, or whatever the case is.
Yep.
That's fun to do.
Well, and for those who prospect in baseball, that's what a lot of that is with Bowman and Bowman draft and
Yeah, and like I never, I don't follow my, the who's coming up, who's on like top 30 prospect lists. I'll open stuff if there's somebody that's a known guy and I've got something decent and I don't have an attachment to it. I don't have trouble moving it to provide for family or to add something else to my collection, whatever the case is. But then you end up there's been times when you hold on to something too long or you got rid of something too quick. All those games, it weighs on me sometimes, but it's still fun. Like if it wasn't fun, I would have not been in this hobby as long as I have been. So
100%. But like we always say, the best time to sell something was yesterday.
right,
You
or
know.
during March of 2021.
Yep. So it's that shit's a crapshoot, and
Yeah.
it's I know everybody likes to compare the card market to the stock market, and to a degree, it's not a far off comparison because it's got it peaks and valleys and everything else. But you can't you can't predict it. You can't. If that's the case, then people who have been collecting for as long as all of us have, especially like collectively, we'd all be fucking millionaires.
Still
Because
waiting
if
on
you
that time machine.
because if you collect over an extended period of time, you feel like you got a knack for it and everything else, but it's still so unpredictable because one day it could be based solely on a performance for that day. Sometimes it's over a career, and other times it's like,
dude.
Why in the fuck is this card now worth X amount of like? Did I
When
miss something?
when when all that boom was going on, and Ian Happ had like a 6-game stretch of just playing really well, like his Gem Mint 10 Chrome rookies were going for like $80 to $100. You know, it's like that's Ian Happ. I don't know.
But again, that's what I'm getting at. It is so unpredictable, and it doesn't matter how you look at trend lines.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can't affix that to any specific reason as to why something spikes or declines, unless it's like an injury, a substantial injury. So
Yeah, it's social media influence, all that BS. Then you have like he's hobby popular. He's hobby popular, but not.
But them be fighting words.
He's my Josh Johnson. He's my Josh Johnson. That's okay.
Them be fighting words.
If he ever has a comeback story, I'll be flush. But no, like the idea of like the hobby, he's hobby popular, but not like in the sport, or he's really good at the sport, but he's got no love in the hobby. You know, those guys. I feel like that's where some value might be had. Like I think I've mentioned probably before, like Rafael Devers. You know, he doesn't have a big hobby following, but last time I checked, he produces pretty well.
Look at Jerry Rice. I mean, when you really put things into perspective, Jerry Rice doesn't get the love that he deserves. Fucking greatest receiver to ever play the game. Depending on who you talk to, I'm sticking with that statement. There are other guys that are really close and or may surpass him at some point in time. But when you put things into perspective, he doesn't get the hobby love that you think that he should. Was there a time where you started seeing an increase in some of his stuff? Yes. But in comparison to Brady, like you have Brady all the way up here, and then you have everybody else down here.
Yeah, if they're both the greatest at their position, quarterbacks get all the love and the chicks.
Well, this is true. I don't know. Tight ends are doing all right. I mean,
they're on a comeback.
I mean, I hate to say it, Travis Kelce may go down as the greatest of all time, and that's hard for me to say.
Yeah, and then Kansas City would have 2 of the greatest of all time.
Yep. Oh, Gonzalez.
That elusive 97 class.
I still have Shannon Sharpway up there too, but I'm partial. All right, so Bob and I have talked quite a bit. Go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say, Shannon Sharp still has the all-time record of looking most like a team logo of all time.
Well said.
Thanks, Michael.
He does. He looks exactly. I think it was designed after him.
Maybe. Yeah. Since I have him behind me.
4-2 Edmonton.
Ouch.
All right.
No, not all right.
All right. All right.
I already have to deal with potential shit from Dave and freaking.
Oh yeah, Paul's probably very happy.
Ottinger must be having a game like he did against Colorado, where he fucking just let all sorts of stupid shit in.
I think they got a shorty, and then even strength.
I don't think there's been any. Well, other than a shorthanded, I don't think there's been any power play goals yet. I think it's all been on at even strength.
I know I got a couple Skinner young guns, so rooting for him. I just missed out on the McDavid.
The one that went for stupid money.
Yeah, 8 years too late.
Isn't that how most of us are?
Apparently, I just was talking with a guy recently. He like grew up in the Erie area and had heard of this McDavid kid playing in locally somewhere there as like a 15-year-old playing against grown men. But never went to saw him, never went to go see him. Kicking himself now.
Yeah. Hindsight's 2020, as we all say.
I've never seen
But I've talked about freaking 96 chrome freaking basketball, like plenty of opportunities way back when.
Is that your McDavid collection?
No, that's his Austin Meadows collection. Or 0304, looking at LeBron. But sometimes you have to have the fundage in order to make acquisitions. Even at a few $100s then compared to now.
You make any big TD purchases recently?
No.
Anything come across that I don't want to bring up a sour subject if you missed out on something, but
that would require me to actually like remember or to actually bid on something. The only thing, and I have a reason. It had nothing to do with money. There was one of the triple autos out of QBC, Donruss preferred QBC, the triple auto out of Pen Pals, with Ricky Williams, TD, and was it Jerry? Oh, now I got to go pull up eBay.
Favre.
Was it Favre?
Yeah, because I was looking at it.
What about you, Michael? Any one of ones added to your? You don't have many missing one of ones left, I imagine. But
I sold a bunch of one of ones. If you've been on eBay the past 2 or 3 weeks, you will see a bunch of Clay Matthews one of ones that I have owned previously that I sold off to another collector that he decided to sell off most of his collection, but I let him go. I didn't bid on a single one.
We go through cycles. I hear you.
Yep. But I was waiting for Vinny to get here so I could talk about the card that we talked about last week.
No,
that I talked into existence.
I was right. The one that I was actually paying more attention to. I remember the Favre too.
Oh, that one's nice.
But I added it to the watch list. Don't change me yet, Dave. This is the one that, because I watched this one go too.
Yeah.
That's got Ricky on there.
Yeah, but the one with Barry, Ricky, and TD is a definite need. But when I was looking at it, I couldn't find the stamping in the picture. And that's the only way you can tell those are their authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, like when I was looking at the picture, I couldn't find it until the auction had already ended. It had already sold. And then I looked at it again. I was like, oh, motherfucker, there it is. So I didn't want to run the chance of paying over $300 for a card and run the risk of it not being one of the authentic versions. So, but I still look at stuff, I still watch stuff, but I've mentioned as of late, the budget is pretty much zero right now. It's trying to focus on paying stuff down and getting us better. So, and there's there's been nothing that it's like, oh shit, I have to have this. Those would have been a nice to have, but and for the record, I already have the one with Favre, Michael. That's the reason why I didn't go for
I know. I remember seeing it.
But I put it on the list because I was curious.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting is, so the stated print run for the triples are to 20. And you don't see them very often as it is. And I think that one sold for way too cheap. And truth be told, the one with Barry, Ricky, and TD, I think sold for way too cheap. Because you don't see them.
Yeah.
You don't. And they're all on card. Because the last time I saw the one with TD, Peyton, and I don't remember who else, because that's the other triple that I need. I think somebody wanted like $1,800 for it.
Jeez.
That's a little steep. Personally, I think that's a little steep. But at the same time, it's a triple auto. It's on card. It's from 99. I get it. I get it. Because you see cards nowadays that are actually serial numbered to 20 that are sticker autos that sell for close to that. So, I don't know. This is why shit just drives me nuts, because stuff fluctuates so fucking much right now, and you think things should sell for more than what they do, and then there's times you're like, oh yeah, that'll go for a couple $100, and then you see it, it's like $60, and you're going, why in the fuck did I not bid on that? But shit happens.
Sometimes.
Yep. I can sit here and honestly say I'm not disappointed with letting shit go. It just this sounds really bad, but right now I don't care. I don't, because there really is not anything that has either come out or has been listed that it's like I said, this is something that I have to have. There's only one card, honestly, to this point, that if it were to pop up, that would be a have to have. And that would be the missing Optic Contenders printing plate auto that I don't have. I've got 3 of the 4. I missed out on the gold vinyl, which is fine, but I've never been able to complete a printing plate rainbow. And that's something that I still have high on my list. So I've got 3 of the 4. I've got two of 4 on multiple others, but I've never seen them. And they're older products too. So the chances of me actually stumbling across them are even more slim to none. At least with the Optic Contenders, it's from 21. There's still a possibility. So I don't know. It's not that I'm talking negative here. Truth be told, like, since I haven't picked up much of anything at all this year, I'm no longer a collector in a lot of people's opinions. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
I was out of the hobby 2 years ago then. Damn.
But there's things that you've gotten that you don't always show.
I know.
Yeah. But I don't want to say that like the passion is gone. My priorities have shifted. I know at some point, like, my wife needs a new truck. I mean, she's had her truck since 2013. I finally had to buy a new car 4 years ago. So it's one of those. It's like, okay, it's time. And in order for all that to happen, like shit's got to get paid down. So my priorities have changed. I still enjoy collecting. I still look at shit. I still hunt through shit. I still organize stuff. I still stumble across stuff that I'll sit and stick in piles for other people. Like, so that aspect is still there. I don't sit in front of eBay and wait for auctions to end because I don't care.
87.
Going old.
$7. $7. Yeah, I got that last time I was in Indiana.
So, and then I wish I could be somewhat like Michael and be able to part with shit and actually maybe keep it a little bit more fresh, but I can't even do that either because I have some sort of attachment to every fucking thing that I have. But I can admit it. Like, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, once you start moving stuff, it gets a lot easier. Trust me.
It does. Once you pull the Band-Aid, it's like, oh,
yeah,
I can live without that thing I didn't think I could.
Yeah, but that's okay for some of the other stuff. Yeah. It's when it's the TV stuff because of the time and effort, and I don't know. That one's hard.
Yeah, I'll agree with that for sure. Like, I don't care where Austin Meadows is. I'm not selling anything. Randy Moss, I don't sell Randy Moss. I had a little too much Shaq, so I could sell off some Shaq. But yeah, my guys. Again, because I'm a lot of product being opened or bought. You end up with a bunch of stuff that you just are. It's just sitting in a box. So there's no attachment to that.
Well, and as you know, Bob, I made the one purchase from you a few years ago. It's trying to sink money in other sports for certain rookies. It's the fact of the matter is I do this now for my enjoyment, but when I'm 6 feet in the ground, I want it to have some value for my children. And like, granted, Terrell Davis stuff probably is not going to go down anymore than what it has in previous years and fluctuated. But, 30 years from now, plus whatever that is, I'm not going to math because I'm not going to have that throw it over my head. But, I want there to be additional value elsewhere. That's also why I still put together sets, because as long as sets provide rookies within the sets, there's still some sort of collectability. So,
yeah, you don't have to worry about which ones to buy if you just put the set together.
Well, there's that, but there's a lot of years in which I've missed out on stuff because I've stuck with football. And do I have rookies of all the big guys past 2015? Probably not, because I never sunk any money into it. Which is why, like I said, I've leveraged you. You helped with the baseball and some of the basketball stuff. And at some point, Vinny and I are going to sit down and do a fairly large trade that will help expand his football stuff for rookies. And I can expand in some of the other sports too that I don't have stuff in. So trades, of course, are the easiest because you're not out any cash. But
how's Vinny's progress with that Young Gun collection? Has he made any updates recently?
No. Not really. It's been slow go. Bob, but he hasn't been focusing on it. It's lower
Yeah.
kind of on the totem pole.
Sure.
He's still trying to get his office reorganized and stuff along those lines too. So
I
it's
like. I have a couple things that like well, specifically a comic book run of Lobo. Like I haven't read his comics for a decade or more, and it's like then I put them all together and realize it only goes to 64, and I'm missing like 10, and they're later run issues, so they weren't being as they're not as printed as much, so they're harder to find. But like it's on my to complete list, you know. So it doesn't always have to just be about cards,
well,
even though this is a sports card channel.
but is it? I mean, I
It's a
went back
plethora.
through it. I don't remember
I
when it
mean,
was, but Beckett checklists include like Beckett publications for a specific for a player.
oh wow,
So I started going through because I keep fucking everything. I went back and I started freaking looking through all my old Beckett's and stuff like that. And I found out I have at least 2 copies of every Beckett publication that Terrell Davis is on the cover of. There's
nice.
only 4, but still. And I stumble across, like the Tough Stuff and some of the other sports
What
related
about like
magazines.
Sports Illustrated? Yeah, I mean, he's got to have a couple covers of that.
Yep, and I have those too. So that was fun because I never bothered to quote unquote include that in my quote unquote checklist.
Yeah.
But I
Those
saw
and
it
they're
on there, and I'm like, huh. I wonder if I have them. And lo and behold, I do.
yeah.
Not to mention, I probably have quite a few of them in there that have, because I don't remember what year it was, but there were quite a few months in which they were doing samples or promos for upcoming products.
Ah,
And some of those cards may or may not have survived. So could they be scarcer than others? Possibly. But I've never bothered to go through and look at all of them and say, okay, what do I have? Because I don't think about
yeah. I
it.
remember those like a magazine would insert like a promo card or something, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be worth something. And it's like some scrub player, but like everybody's gonna throw this away, and I'm gonna be the one guy that collects it that nobody wants 30 years later. So it's funny. I almost had like a cool moment. Was it Life magazine or Time? One of those, I think it was Life, but came across like a stack of old ones, and I think that's what the Post, like 1961 Post baseball cards were like stapled into the center of it or something. I never did find one, but it was cool to kind of go through and just see what might have been. Or like finding that Lemieux ticket, you just never know. I mean, with the dude, I never know what he saved. So, but that Lemieux Gretzky first game, that was pretty cool ticket stub to find.
Heck yeah. And that's where a lot more of the enjoyment can come into play is by finding other things. The collector's mind looks at collectability first before they think of value anyways.
Oh yeah.
And I still have a lot of the ticket stubs for when I went to Mavs games back in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s, just because I kept them. And being able to see Jordan play in Magic and all that, there's no significance to any of them other than the fact that I can sit there and say, hey, this is when they played the Bulls.
Right.
I saw Jordan and Pippen and, I got to see them play in their prime. Other than that, who gives a shit? But then on the flip side, the first game for Gretzky that you have, the seventh no hitter that I have for Ryan, then there's that aspect of it.
Yeah.
There was a shit ton of people at that game, so there's a lot of people who probably have a ticket. But I'm one of those people. My best friend was at Kenny Rogers' perfect game.
Oh, wow.
So, and I still hate the fact that I should have gone to the game in which he got his 5,000 strikeout, because I could have gone to that game too, which would have been cool as fuck to see both seventh no hitter and 5,000 strikeout, but I didn't go.
Yeah, watch that. I watched that Netflix documentary on him recently.
Freaking lineup card. Yep.
Signed by JJ and Ozzie Guillen.
That's awesome.
But that's the other cool shit that you can stumble across and enhance your collecting kind of mentality and the love for the collecting aspect. Like, why I decided. Go ahead, Bob.
Does he have some starting lineups? Because they always have like cards in them as well,
You talking about Terrell?
Yeah, there you go. Very nice. Betting.
And of course, Beckett. I'll leave it to Beckett. They have the figures, and the cards are separate entries.
Oh, cool.
So if you got one or the other, you can at least quote unquote checklist it. But if you have both,
you can checklist both.
Yep. I've never just collected the card aspect. I mean, and that's something that has kept the enjoyment for a lot of years. The problem is now there's not as many things out there that I don't have. I mean, for instance, in my curio cabinet, I've got the Winner's Circle 98 Corvette. That's Terrell Davis. I have a Pinnacle Inside can. I have one of the Donruss Preferred tins. There's a Bammer. There's a NFL Game Day 99 from PlayStation that's got Terrell Davis on the front. Headliners Mini.
Oh.
Of course, then there's the Headliners XL. That's the Georgia. I've got the Retro Lunchbox.
The Headliners were like the littler ones, right? Like almost like mini little. They weren't bobbleheads, but they.
Yeah, they're like that. Yep. And then up there in the middle is the Headliners XL, but that's the Georgia. He has a Broncos one too, which I find I look for that shit more than I do cards.
Any like stadium issue stuff? Like, I don't know if they were doing bobbleheads necessarily when he was around, but
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything. Doesn't mean it's not out there. Doesn't mean that somebody doesn't have it. I've never seen it. So, I mean, I have 3 pins, like lapel pins. One of them is actually one of them is him, and it's got a facsimile autograph, and then there's one that's the jersey, and it has Davis and the numbers on it. So random shit.
One of that in the fridge.
It keeps it interesting, and I've had a lot of people ask me before, do you collect anything outside of cards for him? And the answer is always yes. It's not that I actively go seek it, but if I stumble across it or I find it, like a lot of the stuff came in collections that I acquired over the years.
So here's
But
a cool random one. This was a stadium giveaway on May 4th at the Pirate game. May the 4th be with you. It was like their Star Wars night. And this is Jedi Keller. So you got Mitch Keller. There goes his lightsaber. But there's Jedi Keller there. And he's got the Jedi uniform on.
See, that's cool.
Yeah. First time I had it out.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Or like this kind of stuff. This is the Coach Cower with the grass bobblehead. And I know Vinny likes this stuff. Like local restaurant, Eaton Park, coming out with their collective glasses and stuff. They're pretty cool. Yeah, there's no right or wrong or way to collect if it's something that makes you happy. Going back to your point, Steve, it's fun. Value has nothing to do with it,
100%. I mean, I have my freaking Terrell Davis freaking barbecue sauce. I have the regular one and the spicy up there. They've never been opened.
I've got a 6-pack, the Shack Attack pack of Pepsi bottles that have never been opened. It's got the same little carrier that you can't just carry it by the handle anymore because I'm afraid they're going to fall out the bottom.
But in truth be told, like years ago when Terrell Davis Foods was still a thing, his fucking barbecue sauce was the shit. I mean, it was fucking fantastic. And Terrell Davis Foods dissolved. I don't know what happened to it. But
it got too hot.
Like I'd still find a way to get it shipped to my house. It was that good. What year are the Pepsi bottles, Bob?
That got to be like 94. I mean, 93, 94. I mean, I think he was pretty much doing the Pepsi thing from early on. I mean, he was still with Orlando, that's for sure. And like every bottle had like a slammin' or jammin' or like some kind of hip 90s slang term.
The one thing I wish I still had from the back-to-back Super Bowl champion years is the Wheaties boxes. I had them, but over the years, I think one got crushed and one got like a small hole in it to where it actually like bred weevils. So you don't, it's not like you want to keep something because I'll say is collectible. You don't want freaking bugs freaking crawling all up and down your shelves and shit. Because
I had an issue with some cereal boxes and probably a large mouse or rat back at a home in West Virginia. Yep. Got a couple of my Clemente, Jackie Robinson, they did that kind of thing, the commemorative. So there's definitely a few with some little gnaw marks on the corners, and then the bag is busted. Yeah, so if you leave the cereal in, get one of those cases for it.
Yeah.
Stick it in. I have 3 cool Jordan ones. I know I've got like the Jordan, his second and third issue of Sports Illustrated. I don't have the North Carolina one, his first one, but I've got the USA one and the first Bulls one. Those are kind of cool.
Which, like I said, they have meaning to you.
Yeah.
There's significance to you. Is there collectability in some of it? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're not sitting there going, I wonder how much this could be worth.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've looked them up to see
Well, of
what people
course.
are paying for them, but it's more just because. Look, a lot of this is my dad can't throw anything away. So when I come across something that he's saved for decades, it's like fun to tell him, like, "Hey, you didn't do this for absolutely no reason." Like if
Yep.
because I've talked about it before. There's always been like the value of things. Like the first stack of cards I ever saw, my dad explained to me what they were and like how to look them up, and it was a tough stuff. And like this '84 Joe Montana, it's actually right here. It should be here. Yeah, this guy right here. So it was beat up then. It's even more beat up now. But like this was my entry into the hobby. You know what I mean? So it therefore is the wallet card in this 1971 Roberto Clemente that somebody decided to draw green all over. And this one, this I got at the gas station, 1990 Barry Sanders, and it was different because it had this orange banner up here, and it was worth $1, like more than all the other cards. So
Was that the 1,000 Yard Club or whatever?
no, those were the yellow ones that had the yellow borders. This is just his base card from the set. But it just got me into like, okay, who are these players? I really wasn't into sports just yet. Like professional sports.
Yeah, I don't
But
have.
that's
I
kind of
don't.
where it started.
I don't have anything from when I first started collecting. Nothing.
Does that bum you out at all? I mean, not trying to make you sad or anything, just
No, I think at one point I ended up just throwing it away.
you're not a true
Why?
collector then.
I never claimed to be a true collector.
That's right. Other people can identify collectors. I'll tell you, you're a true collector. Dude, you're gonna frighten off the viewers, man. Dave, you're definitely a true collector.
But yeah, I don't know
What?
why I would have done it, but it's
There, I saw him back there. I saw him back there.
yeah. Every once in a while, we'll all notice there's a new one, but none of us ever say anything. We
Steve,
just notice
what
the
can you
pile
say?
growing.
What can you say?
To Dave,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
I'm worried about you, Dave. No, that's
Mostly,
you know he talks to them when we're not on a live stream.
Well, if he starts getting answers from them, then we all need to be concerned.
if you see a picture of me pulling a wagon with all of them in there, then the trouble is like really,
Right.
Yes, but
Yeah.
crescendo.
here's the problem, though, Dave. At some point, you're going to be in one of those moods, and you're going to fucking take a picture with it just to do it. That's the thing.
If I can find a wagon, I can fit all those friends in. And
He's gonna get 10 of them, and then when he does his nominations next year, he's gonna just use each one of them to be a example of that channel.
yeah, I gotta have the guy, that Simpson artist guy, come out with them quicker though, because that's I think the 4 he's got so far. Because this one only sold like what 1,030 copies.
You got the Bumblebee guy? Was that the first
Yeah,
one you had? Or?
That was the first I got, but the first one that was out was like the kazoo or whatever the hell, the little the part.
Those lips, man.
the lifelike lips.
It's unsettling.
It's nightmare fuel.
So that was the first one I think he made because that was like
Yeah.
because on there it says 2197 of those were made, and then the Bumblebee guy is 30. I remember when I showed you that one, and you're just like, "This is." You didn't know if you should be scared.
I
or
know
just like,
why you keep that one on the bottom. Yeah, I know why you keep that one on the bottom.
There's that friend. And that one was at 3441. Then of course Banana Man, who is not affiliated with this grouping, but when you showed that the one time, I'm like, I gotta get that because that's part of the crew.
He's like an estranged cousin or something. Yeah.
Then there's 2214 on the little lamb.
Lamb Man.
Yeah, like Mega Man, the enemies, Lamb Man. So him.
I
and
so
just-
badly want to give those to my get those for my children, but I want them to not be frightened of me.
That was the latest. It was like a Care Bear sort of.
Because that makes it better.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, yeah, November 2023. So we'll see if he comes out with another one soon. Again, it's a waste of money, but I love that stuff. That's again, if I could somehow go back in time, and like the Jim Henson Studios were ever like selling Muppets, like just like ratty Muppets. I would have bought. That would have been the thing I would have collected. I love. Anytime I see those, I just get joy. It's just like automatic. I could be in a sour ass mood, and you can see like the just shitty stuff from like the '60s and '70s. Just like the bad voiceovers, the original like Kermit's, and just like you could see where it's just not good, but you know where they're going. It's like I love that so. But I'm sure if I tried to look for any of that stuff now, that's just like absolutely absurd. Even for some small like little background character in like the like a Sesame Street or a Muppet.
Fraggle Rock, man.
Yeah,
I would love one of the aliens, you know. Yep. Those guys. Yeah. Just like their mouth. I met a guy recently who was a big, of all things, Willy Wonka, like the original one, collector. And he claims to have like an original golden ticket and the chocolate bar. What's up, Paul? A full costume of the Oompa Loompa, wig and everything. He said he has an everlasting gobstopper, and apparently they're all like certified, like from the studio, all this stuff. So like he went hard on Willy Wonka, but that's what he loves. It takes him back to his childhood in the same way like these cards and these things do for us. So it was pretty cool.
Of course, I was disappointed when I had my first gobstopper.
Yeah, because it wasn't all Peggy like that.
And it wasn't like the movie. I'm like, I feel like I'm being gypped. What the hell?
Right. Yep. Wait a minute. Is this the... No, it says Willy Wonka on there.
Yep.
But you got the Wish.com version.
Yeah.
It was Slugworth's variation, but with Willy Wonka's
Right.
name on it.
Those would be kind of hard to suck on, but I get your
They
point.
would. But I mean, that's how it was portrayed in the movie. So it's like that's
Right.
kind of what you were hoping for. And
Exactly.
you're like, okay, this is round. What the F is going on? I feel gypped. I'm gonna write a letter and I'm gonna bitch and complain.
I've been gypped by a lot of movies before. Not just for like products, but like, listen, I haven't brought this up before, but Major League One, great movie, right? Baseball movie. All the characters are awesome. Serrano was like the man, right?
Mhm.
And then Major League 2. And like
Oh,
he's like like let's admit how big of a letdown that was for him not to be a badass from the get-go.
mhm.
They had to make him like a pacifist or something. It was like, all right, okay, he came back in the end because you have no marbles. He got his marbles back. But I was very disappointed by that movie reveal. Anyways, not to derail the whole show here. Pedro
Not
Serrano
derail.
deserved better.
One, of course, the recasting of Willie Mays Hayes.
Yeah, Omar Epps, right?
Mhm.
You might run like Mays, but you hit like shit.
Yep. But that's the one thing I always hate about freaking sequels and stuff when they end up like recasting. Prime example, people are gonna laugh. What did I watch last night?
Speed 2.
Flintstones? No, Flintstones. And then Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Hmm.
So you have, John Goodman and Rick Moranis in Flintstones,
Awesome.
and you got two completely other dudes in Viva Rock Vegas.
I don't even know who they recast in that. So like Will Sasso or who else?
Well,
It's like
the big guy who played Fred I've seen before, but for the life of me, I can't think of what his name is.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Was it the principal and Billy Madison? The elementary one?
Oh,
No.
that guy always reminded me of Newman, but it wasn't.
So Mark Addy is who played Fred Flintstone in Viva Rock
Couldn't
Vegas.
him out of it.
Any other film credits for Mark? Or
I've seen him in
shockingly,
other
his
things.
career went downhill after that. Yeah.
Stagehand number 3.
So in
Right.
this of course
Keith
is the movie this is the movie I remember him from. A Knight's Tale with
Heath.
freaking yes, thank you, Heath Ledger. He's one of the hands, quote unquote. But that's where I knew him from. But like they completely freaking recasted. Like
Yeah.
It just
I'll mention one more recasting that kind of let me down. Although I have come to really enjoy the movie, but Predator 2 not having Arnold was kind of a bummer. Props to Danny Glover, it was fine. I've come to like it later in my years, but yeah, I guess. And now where I see, I don't know. I'm not going to go off on a movie tangent, but Predator could do some cool things. Like after this last one, like they should have Predator and like the time of the samurais, or like Predator and Genghis Khan's crew, the Mongolians, or something. Like all throughout history, all these empires that had great warriors. Predator should go back and mix it up with them a little bit.
You are one ugly motherfucker.
When you say Genghis Khan, the only thing I think of is Bill and Ted's Excellent.
Oh yeah. I still say
nothing.
I still say Socrates.
Yes. Still great. Yeah.
Or actually, I'll give Genghis Khan a nod. I'll give the Night at the Museum Genghis Khan. I'll give him a nod. But yeah, it's
yeah. We lost his sound, or is it just me?
No, Bob's sound is down.
Bob's sound is gone.
what,
Okay, there it is.
There you go.
dude? I just got so much knowledge on you guys. I can't even.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look like you were talking and explaining.
No, I just the Genghis Khan, or he goes into the sporting goods store and he like just finds that bat and starts just demolishing stuff. Beethoven on the piano, that whole scene, man, it's like burned into my memory.
But I mean,
I
when
won't
you
watch
talk
the
about
third one.
when I watched it, it sucked.
Yeah,
It's one of those in which when you talk about sequels and stuff and recasting, that's to a degree that's almost like freaking recasting Keanu Reeves in The Matrix with fucking somebody else. The fact that they cast some other dude instead of Fishburne to play freaking Morpheus, it's like something's wrong with this. Don't get me wrong. I watched the fourth one, whatever the hell it's called.
I didn't.
Revelations, maybe.
Wasn't that the third one?
No, that's Revolution.
Oh, they changed the vowel or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Reloaded Revolution. I think it's Revelations. It's good, but there like I have an issue with Morpheus being played by this younger dude. Like there's a problem. And maybe he didn't want to come back for another one. Who knows? But still, when you're talking about like main characters, like they can get around recasting Morpheus. They can, and it still be okay. But when you watch a movie and you recast somebody else that has a lot more talking lines and more relevant to the story to a degree, it's almost, like I said, as bad as recasting Keanu Reeves with somebody else to play freaking Neo. Like, what's the point of making a movie? Some of these remakes and stuff, okay, like I'll give them a little bit of credit in some of the movie remakes and stuff that they've been doing lately.
Yeah, like they're bringing Blade back. I mean, Wesley Snipes can't play Blade now, even though like Stallone played Rambo at like 73 or whatever.
Well, and there's a new one of those coming out.
I saw Last Blood recently, dude. I hadn't watched it yet. It's brutal.
There's another one coming out.
What? They just said it was the Last Blood.
Oh no, there's one more.
Again.
Yes.
Final Blood. Final Blood.
The Final Blood, yes. I'm pretty sure last and final are synonyms, but let's not split hairs.
So
that makes you think of like
Last Blood.
Oh, dude, how good was? I mean,
yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, he kills everybody, and they deserve it. I mean, that last half hour was just. That's what I wanted.
Yep.
I was like, these tunnels got to come back into place somewhere, and sure enough,
in the best way possible.
Absolutely, man.
Yep. The one that's coming out, the dude's brother, is the main villain.
What dude's brother?
The guy that Rambo kills.
He killed both of them.
There's another brother. A high-powered.
Third brother.
Yes, high-powered.
Everybody has a boss, right? Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they kind of did leave it open-ended, which, yeah, hey, good on Stallone, man. I mean, I enjoyed the Tulsa King. That's a freaking a very enjoyable show. Fubar was good. This good, like the guys we grew up with, still kicking ass, man. That's pretty cool.
I haven't watched Tulsa King, but it's something on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's It's
only because of Sylvester Stallone. Because I've seen like snippets, I've seen stuff like that, and it's like this looks like classic Stallone shit. Like I feel like I could get into this.
You believe he's a gangster for sure.
Yep. Well, he is Italian, so it
did you guys see Nobody with Better Call? It didn't I was like, that was a casting. I was like, this can't be that cool. But he freaking nailed it, man. And I hope they make more of those.
Yeah, I'm waiting for another one of those.
I haven't seen that.
Excellent movie. You should watch that one.
Yeah. it's sort of in that same vein of like a badass dude that has walked away from the lifestyle and started as a family, and then shit happens, and he's gotta like John Wick. Are you working? Are you working again? I think or I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back. Like that whole John Wick, that whole series is pretty good. I haven't seen the fourth one yet, so no spoilers. But those are just fun movies to watch.
Well, I haven't seen any of them because, like, when I watch,
You haven't seen any of the John Wick movies?
I have not.
Wow.
So like they play them a shit ton on like network TV.
Right.
But here's
Don't
the
watch
thing.
them.
I won't watch something on network TV until I've actually seen the actual movie with the blood, the gore, the language, like that. It defeats the whole fucking purpose.
Yeah.
The adult themes.
The adult themes, right?
If there happens to be any, I mean, if you're gonna watch a movie, you need to watch it the way it was intended.
Exactly.
Before you start watching the redacted and the revised and all that other kind of shit. And I haven't watched them yet. So is it on my to-do list? Absolutely. Because a lot of people talk great things about them. So I want to see them. So, and like right now, Showtime.
Yeah, I mean, you've only had the better part of a decade to watch.
Kiss my ass, Michael.
He's waiting for the 4-disc set to come out.
You could have watched them all in the time it takes for Dave to get on the show on the night. You could have just been watching them.
So that would have been over multiple weeks, though, Michael.
Still counts.
So I'd get bits and pieces, and I'd have to pick up and then potentially like rewatch so I can remember what the hell I saw. But it's on the to-do list. I just haven't watched them.
Halle Berry's in the third one, dude.
Okay.
That's all I need to say. So you should hurry up and get to it. But I haven't been to the movies to see a movie in a while, but I really want to go see that Furiosa because I enjoyed Fury Road so much. That looks like something you got. Like there's just certain movies you got to see in the theaters is my philosophy, and that appears to be one of them.
Yep.
Like Maverick, you had to see that in the theater. I mean, it's a cool movie, but on any format, but something that big deserves a big screen.
I went to a 10 a.m. showing of Maverick.
Oh, nice.
The weekend it came out. It was awesome. It was me and 5 gray hairs.
Nice.
That's who was going to those movies.
That's right.
It was fantastic.
I think ours when we went.
And they're making another one of those.
Yep.
It was a 2:00 showing, I think.
I'm excited for Deadpool Wolverine in late July, man. That's going to be awesome.
Hell yes.
Those are what summer blockbusters are supposed to be, man.
Yep.
Last movie we went and saw was Spider-Man, the animated one.
That was a good movie too.
Oh, it was great.
I wasn't sure I was going to like those, but I was pleasantly surprised by both of them.
It was good. Long. Surprisingly long. That's the one thing I wasn't expecting. But the kiddo wanted to go see it. So it's like, okay, let's go. So
yeah, Marvel likes to milk that runtime for sure.
But truth be told, like a lot of the previews and stuff for stuff coming out, it's like nothing's been like, oh yeah, I need to go see that in the theater.
The last movie I went and watched the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and it was
dude, that's
so good.
That's on my list. I can't wait to see that, man. I want to see Argyle too. That looked like a fun one.
Yeah, Argyle, I haven't watched yet.
I like Michael Vaughn, that kind of Guy Ritchie stuff. I love all that.
Yeah, but
fast paced.
If it's Guy Ritchie, I'm watching it.
Yeah,
it's the same with if it's Fincher, I'm watching it. Those are my two guys.
Cool.
The advantage you have, though, over, let's say, me, with children.
Yeah.
We don't always get the opportunity to go do some of those things.
They can take care of themselves at this point.
It's not about us going without them. It's typically we go because they want to go. And
I am way too selfish for that nonsense. It doesn't even compute to me.
but that's also why you don't have children.
100%. 100%.
So it's, I mean,
Yeah, that's
my wife and the kiddo went and saw the Barbie movie.
and you could have went and saw Oppenheimer.
I could have.
The wife and I went and watched Oppenheimer. It was fantastic.
Was that good?
It's
I mean,
but
great.
that's
It's
one of those in which like I feel like I can watch at home.
That's
Yeah.
that's what Kristen and I did at her place. We watched. She's like, "You want to watch this?" I read up on it. I'm like, she's like, "It's World War II." You sold me. Let's go.
But that's one that you don't need the theater to see.
No, you don't. Like again, like
I mean,
you
it
said,
was
Matt-
shot in
Matt-
IMAX. It was shot in IMAX. So
Well, that's you need the. If it's an action film, if it's a lot of gunfighting, if it's
Yeah.
cars screeching, if it's the fucking like the jets, you want to hear that surround sound, that rumble.
oh, dude,
If it's a lot of people talking, I don't need to fucking hear it louder than I can sort of keep it on TV. And that's what Oppenheimer is. But again, it's a lot of stuff where if that's something you like,
right?
you're gonna stay invested in it. If it's something you're just like, again, I don't want to hear people talking about something that really I don't care about.
Yeah.
Then again, World War II. If you don't like World War II, you're probably not going to be too invested in it or history. So,
Well,
I'm
it's
a-
the
I'm a
reason
big-
why I had to go see Maverick in the theater. Like I had to go see that in the theater. Like
100%.
you can't sit there and watch it at home and miss out unless you've got a freaking hellacious surround sound system and all sorts of other shit in your house. Like, okay, but no, that's one that I had to go freaking and see it in the theater. Like that.
or some of
I'm
the
a
stuff
big-
that I don't remember watching as like a kid in the theater when our theater would get, especially during the COVID shit, when that shit was going on, they get like the older stuff to play in there. Since Hollywood wasn't pumping out a ton, it's like, okay, Grease is on the big screen. I'm gonna go watch that. I love that. It's one of my favorites of all time. Watched it with Trista. Watched it with Naomi. Same with Slapshot. I'm like that. I need to see
Oh.
that on the big screen because that's chock full of quotes that are very, very good, and I wish we could use more in our everyday life. I want to put tinfoil in my hands, and people ask me what I'm doing. I'm putting on the foil, coach, and just have people look at you like Paul Newman looked at the Hanson brothers. What?
Putting the foil on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vincent
Yeah, but
took
I
my
would-
quarter.
Give me a root beer.
There's a local independent theater like around in October. They usually do like a week of Alfred Hitchcock stuff. Now it's not like a giant theater, but it's bigger than my 19-inch TV, and it's fun. Well, I only got to go once, but I saw like seeing the Birds sort of remastered audio and visual stuff on the big screen. I remember that.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Paul. I saw that.
Yeah, they've up here. They've really dropped the ball with the Halloween type stuff. I wish I could get some more stuff that was like, okay, here's your stuff that you want. It would be great to see on the big screen. The Halloween, because you hear that the music, that's about to go down, and then just like the killing, you hear that stabbing noise. It's just like, oh, you want to hear that in the big screen. And I think if they had like an After Dark, or it's like, okay, this is like, I won't say a grindhouse film, but I mean, you get more your grungy grainy type of like the Trauma Team, where it's stuff that you're not normally going to see, and you put that up there, man. I think you get a good group of folks that like, I want to see something that, oh boy, here comes again. I'd like to see Hitchcock on there too. We don't have anything like that, but seeing the same stuff over and over. Here's like a kid's
It's
one.
just another Saw movie, isn't it? Like Saw 12 or whatever, every Halloween.
I mean, like, it's not Final Destination. There's another one that's got, I think, about 6 of them out.
Wrong Turn has like 6 or 7 releases.
Those. I didn't know about those, and then one of the co-workers, the one that loves the Mystery Science, is like, you've got to watch Wrong Turn. He's like, I was like, I don't care. But then he's like, I started watching it, and I was like, well, how was it? He's like, I don't even know what I was doing. I just sat there and watched it because the killing was so great, and I'm like, you sold me.
I only watched the first one.
Yeah.
There's one. The ending is like beautiful as they're driving away on a snowmobile. I was so excited on what I saw transpire. I'm like, it's like, well, these people are, you got me. So I don't want to give any spoilers away, but yeah, Wrong Turn is again, you're not going to get big actors, but it's,
you know what you're getting into when you go watch Wrong Turn 6, you know, like
Right.
oh, it's still good. That fifth one, I think, is the one. The fifth or the sixth. Somebody like right away gets shot in the leg with like a bow and arrow or a crossbow or something, like a sheriff. And yeah, there's a kill in there that's beautiful. I'm like, you're saying to yourself, don't do this because it's gonna. Don't. They do, and it's like, and it plays out exactly the way you want it to, or you expect it to. So, yeah,
it's tough to do horror movies just like these days if you're not like playing into like the obvious and everybody knows the tropes of like horror movies, you know, like so if you're not leaning into that to try to do something original now, it's kind of hard. So like everybody's like becomes a critic and like, oh, I saw that coming, or the movie was good but the ending sucked. Like I always hear that about like modern horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because they're trying to do more psychological thriller sort of combination stuff.
Yeah, it's not just your slashers from the 80s and right, I get it.
And
like I have liked Jordan Peele's like Get Out. Us was okay. I did like Nope. Like there's something different at least. That anxiety inducing sort of like stuff. It's not like you know, like I don't know, like the Insidious or the Conjuring stuff, all that like jump scare after jump scare. Like if I'm feeling like it, like there's a movie called Hereditary. Has anybody seen Hereditary?
I haven't watched it. I've always meant to.
Dude, it is like it's like I never felt a sense of dread like anything recently that I've watched that movie produced. And so it kind of when it stays with you for a few days after watching it, it's like I feel like I need to shower or something. So yeah, Hereditary. If you want to ruin your night, go ahead and watch that one.
Yeah. I liked movie came out a long time ago now, The Strangers.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
the second one is actually pretty good too. The second one is actually it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
They take it up a couple, but that whole you're right, Michael. That like she's on the phone or like messing with something, and like it's not a jump scare. It's not he's just in the background, and he doesn't even make a move. He doesn't make a move. You just know he's there. You know,
the light catches it just right, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. It really well done. That's one I would like to go see in theaters because when I originally saw it, I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
That'd be a good one to go see that way.
That's a good call. Strangers.
Yeah, that was Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler.
Yep.
That was,
and then it's like I'll see a movie like that and really like it, and then I'll get on IMDb and see like what else has this guy done, and then oftentimes it's like nothing else that sticks out, you know. But like once in a while, you'll say, oh, you'll make a connection. Like you mentioned Fincher, like it's funny, like I was how old am I? So like 18, 17 years ago, I was working with a guy on an overnight shift, and he was big into movies, right? And he mentioned David Fincher, like, and I liked movies, but I didn't pay attention like who directed it or who produced it, or like I didn't know about like Coen brothers have a style of movie, or like or David Fincher. And then when he started like going like from Alien 3 to 7 to like Panic Room, and like he just like the tones of it, the color, like color washes, and just it started to click for me. So then I sort of like, okay, well, what movies do I like? And like David Cronenberg like came up with all these wild Canadian like horror movies and like gore movies, or body horror movies, I think they call them. Like David Lynch was big for me. I love David Lynch. Love the Coen brothers. Edgar Wright. I love Edgar Wright's like fun, just fun movies. But kind of going down those rabbit holes was fun. And now I feel like I've explored everything. So it's like I need some new stuff. So yeah, Michael Vaughn and Guy Ritchie, they're in there as well, man, for sure.
Yep.
Guy Ritchie with Lock, Stock, and then Snatch, like those two movies back to back. I was like, oh, this guy can't make a bad movie. And then when he did the Sherlock, I was like, really, Guy Ritchie and Sherlock? But those freaking movies were awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. I'm wanting more of them. I
know.
The wife and I just finished watching the Sherlock Benedict Cumberbatch.
Dude, how good are those? They're like little mini movies.
Yeah. Each season was 3 episodes, all an hour and a half each episode. It was just it was movie based, is how it seemed. I watched the first 3 seasons of it when it was on. I didn't catch the 4th, so she hadn't watched any of it. So it was all new for her, and then the last season was new for me. But I watch everything. We watched every episode of Elementary. Just anything that has been with Sherlock Holmes, we really like it. And
to like just to expand on like anytime I've seen a movie and then I find, oh, you haven't seen that, like, and I watch it with that person, like knowing they're experiencing it the first time, it sort of adds something back to like my experience of it. You know what I mean? Like there's movies I'll throw on that I've seen, 20 times just because it's like almost background noise or something, but I still enjoy it, or I'll tune into a favorite part or whatever. But when you get to watch, like, I get to be the guy to show somebody like Blue Velvet or something, or like Mulholland Drive, I'm like, oh, I remember when I first saw that the first time, or like getting, something's coming, so you just kind of peek at their reaction. It's fun.
Yeah.
We could talk about movies all night. So if there's a wrapping up that needs to happen, I really got to pee. If not, so I can. Let me just go do that. You guys do what you got to do.
No, I haven't. I'm trying to think of what I've watched, and I mean, it hasn't been. My movies are the same. I watch the same shit over and over, but it's just.
Which I do too. I have movies that I watch all the time. The wife will come home. She goes, "You're watching that again?" I go, "It's been a while since I watched it." She goes, "It was like last week." I'm like, okay. I don't care. There's certain movies out there that I just watch over and over and over and again.
A week ago, that's still been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is one that I watch all the time. And that's the Daniel Craig one with Rooney Mara, another Fincher film. And then I'll watch Zodiac a bunch of times.
And see,
And Seven. I watch Seven all the time.
Dude, Zodiac, one of my favorites, man.
Me too. I've seen it probably 50 times now, if not more. It is so good. And it's amazing how many people have never seen it. Yeah, Dave, it's phenomenal. The cast, the writing, everything of it is just, it's nailed.
And it's weird for me with movies, and I've always said this because like Tristan, we've watched like Netflix shit. We watched the first 2 seasons of You,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was just like I got tired of Penn Badgley. I was like, I don't know why. I don't need to see him for a while. And then the other one I liked more, even though it was like the guy was just the character he played was more annoying, I think. But I could sympathize with it because if that was my job, that's how I'd be doing it. It was, and I don't remember the name, but it's Bill Pullman's like an ex cop detective thing, but he keeps getting called for these specific cases. I know it's up in like the Northeast. I don't remember what the fuck it was called.
It's recent, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
it
but
is.
I likely will.
Oh, it's so good. And I know the first one was really good. The second one, it started. I want to say those first 3 episodes were just pain at the speed that it was going. But I'm like, I know it's gonna pick up. I kept telling you, I'm like, I know it's gonna pick up. We need to power through and do this because it's something. Again, we were happy with the first one. I don't think they're gonna let us down in the second, where it got a little too convoluted for you. I mean, there's just so many moving parts. We had to keep on trying to remember, like, who's where, what are they doing, what's going on, and but that Bill Pullman one was just, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, but it's got to be where I'm in the mood to watch something that I have to devote time and energy, and then like the ability to pay attention to what's going on, like a story arc. I can't sit there and just be like if I'm watching a tornado video, the one from Tuscaloosa, I can watch that over and over because I already know what happens, but I also am still intrigued by it to pay attention, where it's not like the radio, the background noise, something like that. You're like, okay, now there's these warnings over this way, there's warnings over that way. Okay, let's go through it. But again, it's either got to be something I really want to see, or something I'm like in that genre where I'm like, I want to watch Stallone something. That's when I watch people get fucking blasted and killed. I mean, because that's how I feel. I want to. If I can't do it, let's see what the fucking big screen is. Something like that. So it's, and most of the time, there's so much other stuff that'll draw my attention away. The Mystery Science Theater will always, I've wanted to go to bed, and fucking Mitchell is on at like 11:30, and it's like I need to go to bed. There's one night I wanted to go to bed. I think it was like 9. I'm ready. And there's, I think, 3 episodes in a row where I'm like, it was like Samurai Cop for Rift Tracks, which is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of art. I mean, there's one scene where they're going back and forth. There's 2 cops up in the helicopter. These 2 guys, including the Samurai Cop, on the ground, and she's saying something, again, sexual innuendos to the Samurai Cop, and he's looking up at the helicopter and saying, "Oh, you know I will," and doing
like they could hear her.
But that's the best part. He doesn't even have any fucking headphones on to communicate. He's pointing up, nothing is on, so it's just a hat he's got on. And the one Kevin Tom Servo's voice. It's like, yeah, don't mind that I don't have your communication on. You can't hear me, but it's insinuated. I'm just like I've seen this. I've got the DVD. I've got the actual DVD of the actual movie. I don't need to watch it. Hour and 15 minutes later, I've watched it. Then I think there's another Riff Tracks one, the one that was up in the. There's one with Sean Astin in it, and I'm like, okay, and I watched that, because I'd never seen that, and it's up at like my buddy's mom had died in early January, and they had the celebration of life in April. First time I'd seen him in 15 years, so we got to talk for a good long while, and he was like, he's up in like Killington, Vermont, and this fucking place. That's like the first thing they talk about. It's like the ski resort in Killington, Vermont, and I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, I've got to watch this. And then they had, I think, Manos was, or Plan 9 was the next one on the Riff Tracks or whatever. I'm like, I want to, I can't. I need to be up, and we're rolling past midnight. I need to be up. And I'm like, so it's that stuff when I hit the good Mystery Science for the Riff Tracks. I'm like, I don't know if it's like the endorphins you get for just watching, knowing like, oh, it's like comfort food for the mind, and just like not like chicken soup for the soul. This is like for the spirit. It's like you just sit there and like, I don't have to think. I know what's going to happen. I know it's going to make me laugh. I don't have to follow anything. I already know the story. I already know what's. So I'm like, and that's why I would never watch like new stuff. I was like, maybe I'll watch that, and it just sort of like sails off in the breeze, and then So when you start talking these movies, like I remember hearing about them, or I remember some of this stuff. Seeing on like Paramount Plus, like that fucking Tulsa King promo, how many times? It's like I just Trista with the one out in Wyoming, that one,
Yellowstone,
and then the other one,
1883, and then
all those numbers,
1886 and 1923, whatever it is.
She's watched all kinds of those. She's like, you gotta watch. I'm like, oh, I don't believe I have to, but I'll try and fall asleep, or I just get disinterested, and I'm like,
You can't watch everything, because like I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. I've never seen an episode of Sons of Anarchy. I've never seen an episode of Westworld, and these are shows that people like fangirl boy out all the time. I watched Breaking Bad, but like
Lost. Half of
the Arrow TV, Lost. I watched all Lost, like 24, Alias, The Shield.
The Shield's one of the best.
The Unit, The Wire. Like there ain't many. Like I've watched all the Oz episodes, Sopranos, but I'm running thin on actual like full series that I've actually completed and watched all the episodes. Can't watch everything. But Dave, Space Mutiny is probably top of my list for like ones I've seen. The Final Sacrifice isn't one that's usually in the top 3 of people's lists. And is that what it's called? Or that one isn't familiar to me. So like I love that I still have like popular or classic episodes of that I haven't seen yet, because very good. Wow.
Zach Rosdower from The Final Sacrifice, which it's such a great one.
Yeah, I get confused sometimes which ones are Riff Tracks and which ones are. I mean, it's the same crew essentially, but I know I've seen that Riff Track Samurai Cop thing. Like the guy comes, like he he had to do some reshoots or whatever, but he had already cut his hair for the movie that he was working on. So like, there's scenes with like this the worst wig and like a hat that's just like sitting on top of his head, like.
It's the first part of it, and the black cop picks him up. He's like, "You're not." They go over the voiceover. It's like, so we're just gonna ignore the cool hat and the awesome Cher wig I've got on. Okay. I'm like, it's like the creeper hat too, because it's just like a regular hat with nothing on it, which you never see. There's always got to be something on a hat, and this just has like a Kmart old lady gardener hat, just a blue
Right.
hat. And the wig is so bad. There's a scene cut where he fights some other dude, and it's like you can tell it's sort of in like a fieldy back area, and then he like hip tosses him into a completely new area. I mean, it's just like dirt and fucking like gravel, and it's like, well, I just tossed you into a new scene, so let's go.
Well, like the Plane Mound from Outer Space, it goes from like night to day in the same scene.
But it's 8 p.m. Boy, it's scary at night as that cop car pulls up to the graveyard. It's middle of the afternoon. Again, the continuity. When you have that, I find that stuff where you guys probably find like the story arc more appealing. I find where I can find like errors. That's when I start getting excited. I'm like, somebody didn't care about the movie getting done correctly. They just wanted to get the movie done.
Or it could just be like there's some like we just watched. I just saw Raiders of the Lost Ark recently, and there's that scene where like the fly lands on the guy's mouth and it crawls in his mouth, and then it just looks like you never see the fly come out.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently there were like scenes cut that just for the purposes of time. So it's like they cut that scene out, so it just looks like the bug goes in his mouth and never comes out. Like, did he eat a bug? But yeah, or like the Teen Wolf. I'm like, the end of Teen Wolf in the bleachers, right? So this shit like that is like, oh, I gotta watch that.
Three Amigos.
Which one is that?
You've never seen Three Amigos?
I've seen Three Amigos, but like, what am I missing in a background shot of them?
Martin Short, after the duel, he shoots the guy on the roof. Freaking homeboy sticks his gun in his crotch, near his crotch, in his belt. When he shoots the guy on the roof, he pulls it out of his holster.
Nice. Or the Jurassic Park, when the Tyrannosaurus comes, he eats the sheep or whatever, and like it's all flat ground, but then later, after all the stuff goes down, it's like a freaking cliff that drops off because the truck goes, the Jeep goes off the cliff and lands in a tree.
Yep. Yep, makes you wonder.
Who's editing this, Steven?
Yeah.
The suspension of disbelief is good. So, anyways, yes.
Another one too. I mentioned it probably before, and it's I don't know if it's a deep cut. It's not a deep cut, but it's something beyond the surface. The Good Son.
Macaulay Culkin.
Wood. I think Elijah Wood was talking. It is. That was one of the things my mom and I saw in the theater back in like whatever 93.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
But I mean, that is a good, because I think they had, I don't know, it was Lake Superior or Lake Michigan. They had some of the, like near the final scene was recorded there. So it is
That's
good,
a dark one.
Yes. Sort of turn the trajectory.
They push the thing off the overpass and it hits the car. Yeah.
Yep.
Dark movie.
But a good one.
Yes,
But
very good.
Kevin McAllister.
Kevin! Pushing shit off the overpass.
like, those kids are bad. My dad would kill me if I did that.
Well, it's more Kevin or more Macaulay than.
Oh, it was, absolutely.
1 hour photo with Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah. That 8mm with Nick Cage. Talk about a freaking dark movie. Holy cow.
That movie's about as dark as it gets. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. It's a tough watch. That's all.
It is. Very much so.
All right, Dave, we're coming up on 2:45. And since everybody's a movie buff that happens to be on the screen, this could continue to go on for endless amounts of time.
That's correct.
I know more about movies than I do cards.
I might have to, yeah. Or neck and neck, for sure.
Depends on the day of the week.
Well, thank you for Robert. Michael jumping on. Remember, Wednesdays, you're going forward. 8:05 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Ish.
Hopefully, nearly on time. That should give us all enough time to do what we need to do. Hopefully, maybe.
It's still safe to say ish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It always will be. That's one of our hashtags.
There's an implied ish.
Yeah.
Always. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week. So for Robert, Michael, Steve, I'm Dave. It's been the RP. Remember, collecting cards, wonderful hobby. The friendships that you forge along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.